Hi there, and in this video we're going to be taking a sneak peek at some of the features that are coming up in the new release of AKCpro Server. In this one we're going to be focusing on the powertrain assets. So under our maps menu here, we now have the option to create a powertrain. So when we do that, we're presented with a wizard, so we can set up how many mainline powers we have, how many generators we have, what type of power we've got. So we're going to say that we have 1,000 watts of mainline power coming in. We've got one generator which is also capable of 1,000 watts, and we've got three-phase power. It's 380 volts, and our main breaker maximum load will be 1,800 amps. Now you can choose how many sub-breaker panels we have. So let's say in our case we have 2 breaker panels, and I want to customize each one. So on breaker panel number 1, it has a main breaker. We'll say this one's 500 amps, and we've got 3 sub breakers in there, and each one of those will make 100, 100, and a 200 amp breaker there. Now we're configuring breaker panel number 2. So we'll make this one also 500 amps, and in this one we'll have 4 breakers, and each one of those will be 100. So you basically just input all of your breaker panels, sub panels, how many breakers you've got. So what we're doing right now is just configuring all of the circuits that you have in your facility. Now when you go finish, it's going to create those assets for you and put it here in a map. So you can see here we've got our mainline power source, we've got our generator backup power source, we've got our main breaker, and then we've got our sub panels and the breakers in each one of those sub panels. Now let's say here on breaker number 1, we're going to connect up a rack. So we'll take one of our racks from our rack maps, which is a feature that we've had in AKCpro Server for quite some time, and you can see now we've got a rack there connected. So we'll add another one, and rack number 3. So now we've got 3 racks all connected up to this circuit, each one on its own individual breaker. Now we have different modes here. So we've got a live view mode. If we connect these to an actual sensor, so you can link the asset to a sensor, we could select the power meter sensor, for example, and we would be able to get a power reading. So we'll just take this one, for example, and we put that there. So now you can see this line power is active. Our sensor status is good. That means we're detecting power on this line, and then you can begin to go through your powertrain and connect these up with sensors as well. So we'll link this sensor to an asset also. So we'll go to our PUE virtual sensor that we have set up here somewhere, I think, demo PUE, and we'll take our IT loads and we'll update that. So you can see now we're consuming 10.67 out of 380 available kilowatts. So this is our live view mode. You can do that all the way down to your individual racks. You can connect up various power meters, whether they're AKCP power meters, intelligent PDUs. You're bringing that data here into AKCpro Server. You can connect it up to one of the assets. Now we also have a simulation mode as well. So if we go into simulation mode, what we can do is we can enable this power source, and you can see how the power is flowing through the facility. So if one of these breakers were to trip, so I'm going to simulate that happening, you can see the down chain effect of that. And you can reset the breaker. Now, if you connect these up to intelligent circuit breakers that have, say, a dry contact input on them, then you can automate this. So you'll be able to see in the live view which ones of these breakers are active and not active. And so if you've got a power outage in a part of your data center facility, you'll be able to go to this powertrain, and in that live view, you'll be able to see that this area is off, and probably because this breaker or the problem starts at this particular panel. So that's the first place for you to go and start tracing the problem. And then of course, if our main power goes off, we have a backup power source that can be enabled, and you can see now everything is running on backup power. And if you have UPS battery stacks, you can add those into this powertrain as well. So for example, let's enable our mainline power again, and we'll disable the backup power. So if this breaker has tripped, but I wanted this particular rack to keep on having power, then we would need to put in a UPS. So we can create a UPS asset. So we'd go here to assets, and it would be a UPS. And we'll give it a name. That's a rack UPS. We'll add that. Now we can drag this into our powertrain here, and it would go between the breaker and the rack, and then the rack would need to be connected to this UPS. So from the breaker we have the UPS, and then we would have the rack. So this would be rack number 2, and that would be connected up there. So now if we enable that power source, you see this UPS is powering that rack. So although this breaker has tripped, this rack is still on because it has this backup power. And again, in the live view, you could connect this UPS to an actual virtual sensor that's getting data from your UPS, and so we'll be able to show you live what's happening. So say if we go to UPS voltage, so you can see here now we're actually getting 220 volts on this UPS. So this UPS will be able to provide power to our rack there. Now we also have a function here as well where we can view power utilization. So based on the power meter readings, we can show how much of a total facility power you're actually using. So this is a really useful tool to show you how you are using power within your facility, how much power you're using, how your backup power systems are configured, and whether your powertrain is operating as it should be. Make sure that you've got the relevant backup power systems, and just gives you a way of easily visualizing how the power is flowing through your data center, what your backup systems are, how much power is being used in each location. So this is a really cool feature that's going to be coming out in the next version of AKCpro Server, which we forecast to be coming out within the next couple of months. It's currently undergoing final testing before release.